A premier showdown in the upstate as the boys from Knoxville visit the Greenville Triumph for the final time in the regular season, presented by ScanSource. Welcome one and all to this broadcast. My name is Mark Schoenster. I am joined by Ross Davenport here on ESPN+. We welcome you in. We hope you're ready for a lot of fun and intrigue coming up for the next 90 minutes. But first, let's take a trip down memory lane on how these two teams have met up this season, including their last clash at Regal Soccer Stadium, a game Greenville won 2-0, Ross.
Yeah, this matchup was a little closer than the score would suggest. 48th minute there, McKinnon to Castro with that lovely little near post touch. No Castro tonight, we'll get to that in a little bit. 15 shots each, 4 shots on goals each, but yeah, Greenville have now won 4 in a row against Knoxville.
So no Leo Castro tonight, which means that Greenville will need to have a different player sitting at the top of the formation, and they're going to go with a brand new face for the Greenville Triumph. Rodrigo Robles will step in, a player who did a lot in college, including a breakout year at West Virginia University his freshman year, which I got to witness in person, and then he would go over to JMU and continue to flourish.
Yeah, I got 30 minutes last week against Richmond. Showed some of that skill that led Greenville to sign him a couple of weeks ago. What a timely signing it was with Castro out tonight.
That is certainly the case, and they'll be looking to see what his impact will be in the game here this evening, what different looks he provides for Greenville. Meanwhile, no Kempis Tequila, which means they'll be looking towards their other offensive weapons, Knoxville, for players to step up. One of them could be Kingsford Ajay.
Yeah, I like Castro Tequila dealing with a hamstring injury. Here comes Ajay, the 25-year-old Ghanaian. He's limited to only 3 League One starts this season by a couple of injuries. Has scored twice against Greenville, both coming in victories. Look for him to help fill that offensive gap left by the injured Tequila tonight. Quick feet darting into those open channels in the final third.
He can certainly make things happen when the ball is at his behest. Well, it's retooled attacks, 2 top 5 teams, and lots of intrigue incoming after this break. It's Greenville and Knoxville up next on ESPN+. We'll see you then.
Cycling was a lifesaver. It really was.
You know, when we first talked about the business, I could tell it was more than just a new direction for you.
Yeah, it's a full-time passion now.
It wasn't the easiest journey, was it?
Hanging on for the ride, that's half the fun. Staying ahead of your competition, that's the other half.
There's always more ground to cover. Let's find a way.
Welcome to Wood Creek Dental, where dental care is a family tradition. For over 40 years, we are proud to be a family-owned practice serving the community of Greenville, South Carolina. At Wood Creek Dental, we believe in quality care and exceptional service. Our experienced dentists and dedicated staff are committed to your oral health. We've invested in modern technology and have created a relaxing atmosphere for your comfort and peace of mind. We prioritize your experience in our calm and caring atmosphere. Our commitment to providing you and your family with exceptional service is at the heart of everything we do, and our patient-centered approach builds relationships based on trust and confidence. Experience the difference for yourself. Wood Creek Dental. Dental care from our family to yours.
This evening's match is presented by ScanSource, proud partner of the Greenville Triumph. It's Greenville and Knoxville preparing to do battle here on ESPN+. I'm Mark Schoenster, Ross Davenport to my right. Let's take a peek at our starting lineups. First off, for Rick Wright's side, looking at a 4-1-4-1 formation brought to you by Pelham Medical Center. Of course, we highlighted the name up top, Rodrigo Robles, earlier.
Yeah, the one big change, Leo Castro, who left last week's cup win over Richmond early in the second half. He's got a hamstring injury, so in comes that new signing that you mentioned, Rodrigo Robles. Chapo Herrera and Daniel Wu out. Christian Garner, only his 3rd League One start in the last 9 after he started the first 4, been coming in and out with Gunther Rankenberg.
Now we'll pivot over to what Mark McKeever has got going for one Knoxville. Looks like they'll be going to going with a 3-4-3 formation, Ross. Of course, similarly to Greenville, without the likes of Kempis Tequila, so they're going to need other players to step up in the goal-scoring department.
Yeah, their leading scorer out. In comes, as we talked about in the open, Kingsford. Ajay also out tonight from the last game, that is Calixto Thomas and Garabaya. In comes O'Hearn, Ritchie, And then Sean Lewis back in goal. New signing Stavros Zarakostas on the bench this evening for the first time for Knoxville.
These lineups, brought to you by Pelham Medical Center. We're here at Paladin Stadium in Greenville, South Carolina. The Reedy River Riot getting themselves ready. The two sides getting themselves ready to get going in this affair. One of the 6 games taking place this Saturday in USL League One, which means every single club has a match to play today. So we're happy that you chose to join us to get things going. Our head official, Amin Hadzic, checks both ends, make sure we're all set in stone to get the action rolling here. The whistle blows, and here we go. It's 1 Knoxville and Greenville triumph to win battle for the next 90 minutes here on ESPN+. For the final time these two teams are scheduled to meet this season, of course, with the Jägermeister Cup and the potential playoffs coming ahead for these two sides. No guarantee that this is the last time they'll play each other this season.
This is the only matchup featuring 2 top 5 teams though, Mark, so hopefully got a lot of people tuning into this one. 2 teams we mentioned missing key striking options. 2 teams that do play very solid defense for the most part. Let's see if we can get some goals tonight.
This is the Knoxville side that has been very effective defensively this season, and now they have one less thing they have to worry about on the Greenville side of things with no Leo Casha, of course. Lyle McKinnon, who the ball just went by, still leading the league in goals scored.
It was a defensive, I'll say a lapse. Took 2 points away from them last weekend in the Cup. Like stoppage time goal by Chattanooga. The goalkeeper saved, but defense from Mark McKeever was too slow to react. He said he was happy, he was sad, he was frustrated. There was elation, a big mix in that game. He said the first 25 minutes of that contest, he said it was the best they've been all season.
A melting pot of emotions is how he described that game.
Wasn't that every game?
Some games definitely are more volatile than others.
Yes.
At the end of the day, though, he said, hey, still 4 straight unbeaten, so pretty happy with where his guys are at this point in time.
Yeah, it's a big test tonight for Knoxville on the road. One of the tougher places to play in USL League One. Surface-wise, for sure. It's a turf that can act a little differently than many of the surfaces in League One.
And Anderson trying to get by Danny Fernandez.
Anderson, who scored the opening goal against Richmond last weekend and then sparked a bit of controversy with his celebration in front of the River City Red Army. You can go on the socials if you want to read all about that if you missed it.
There's Carlos Anguiano. We talked a little bit about players who may need to step up today. He's one who's stepping in once again for Chapa Herrera, who still recovering from an injury he suffered a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Herrera only started running this week, so probably at least another couple of weeks away, but Anguiano's stepped in beautifully. The rookie, I'm getting my center midfielders mixed up, the man from Phoenix Rising. Yeah, we asked Rick Wright about the incident featuring Hayden Anderson, and he said, listen, at the end of the day, the environment in Richmond is awesome. They have a very vocal supporters group. So some great banter going back and forth, and in the end, it's all in good fun.
Throw in not fully dealt with yet. There's Robles, who was able to usher away a defender. Greenville still had possession. They're always an organized side, Richmond. Rick Wright was telling us about the kickers. Said it wasn't a strong first half from his team. Then they made some adjustments, then dodged some bullets with some blocks, and then looked better in the second half. It's a long bus ride, but he says we do love playing there. So like you mentioned, a fantastic atmosphere at City Stadium.
Knoxville doing as they did against Chattanooga, putting the early press on. Greenville doing a good job of making their way out of it, though.
There's Hayden Anderson coming from the left-hand side. Anderson trying to feed Lee. Polak. McKinnon tried to take the shot, blocked immediately. Greenville enjoying possession to start things off in this game. Talked a little bit about that Richmond game, but actually, in case you weren't in the know, it was a 2-0 victory for Greenville in that match. You mentioned the Hayden Anderson goal, and then a fantastic goal scored by Pascal Corvino later in the match, one that would end up winning goal of the round, as it was a Jägermeister Cup clash.
Yeah, Rick Wright says he does it in practice. Obviously, Corvino hasn't seen a ton of the pitch this season. He's the rookie I was talking about.
It's funny because when you said it, I pictured in my head Zakowski, which also was a correct answer.
Yeah, listen, Greenville continued to do a great job finding these attacking midfield and forward options out of college.
And this ball will drift out of bounds for a Knoxville throw. Ready?
So look at Jalen Chrysler, veteran of League One.
This evening's weather report brought to you by Fox Carolina. Partly cloudy day, 83 degrees roughly in Greenville, South Carolina. It's a nice day to be playing the beautiful game. I know these players will all be thanking the stars once we get out of the prime summer months, but we still have to go into August here, so it's not through the woodwork yet, but it definitely looks a lot better looking in August, seeing what's ahead versus when you're in June. You see, oh, we still got all of June, all of July, all of August.
Well, I think a lot of these coaches understand that most of the League One cities are hot in the summer. It's when you get to the September and October when you have the chance of inclement weather in places like Madison, Colorado, that some of these coaches may look at their road fixtures down the stretch of the season and say, uh-oh.
It's definitely a give and a take when it comes to the time of year.
We haven't seen the orange ball brought out too much in League One history. Remember Greenville and Madison one year, snow game early.
And that was the first year of existence. Still trying to get their feet on the ball a little bit here after withstanding what Greenville can do, the opening bits. Of course, Knoxville, certainly a team that's not as uncomfortable without the ball as other clubs in the league. Here's Stuart Ritchie.
And they've yet to score more than 2 goals in the game this season, which was an astounding stat in League One. And their third in shots taken, just haven't been able to convert those chances as well as they perhaps should be. And the third worst XG in the league, only ahead of Richmond and Lexington.
Have a chance here to make something happen. Kelly cuts it back. Service comes inside. Popped outward by Fricky. Lasered in once again for Knoxville. Ball's on the ground. Evan Lee collects it and will dish it out to McKinnon. Nearly fell for Kingsford Ajay to get a strike on goal. He is, in the past, given Greenville some nightmares when he was in Tormenta colors. Even in games he did score in, he's just one of those players who he could beat a player one-on-one and get something going. Velasquez will tap this one back to Fricky.
Speaking of Tormenta, shout out to Nick Kokoto.
Oh, absolutely.
One of the biggest transfers in USL League One history over to England to play for Burton Albion in League One over there, and had an assist today in his debut, game-winning assist in a friendly win. Great start for him across the pond.
Schultz moving this one forward. We'll talk a little bit more about that at halftime as well, Nick Kokoto. Polak strolling this one forward. It's out beyond the likes of Rodrigo Robles. A player who likes to stay more in the middle than Leo Castro, according to Rick Wright. You mentioned, of course, another difference between the two of them is he's a lot younger, more mobile. Came on in that game against the Richmond Kickers, and Rick Wright said he had a spark to him. He's just such a passionate player. comes to adding new guys to a locker room, he says you really don't want to mess up what you've got going, as Richie keeps going with this one. It's checked by Fricke.
Brandon Fricke's not going to lose many shoulder-to-shoulder battles with many players in League One.
Ajay out to Richie. Richie trying to thread the needle inside. It's Fricke there once again.
Yeah, Greenville missed Brandon Fricke when he was out. Well, Daniel Wu was a solid replacement, but just the leadership abilities. Fricke has been around this league since the start. Just his physicality as well. That center back spot. Jamie Smith not afraid to throw his weight around either.
O'Hearn inside to Castro. Back to Ajay. And that one well off target, hits one of the uprights. Kingsford Ajay. Another opportunity here. This time able to lace his boots through it.
Work here. Knoxville using the wings well again. Castro with the layoff. Yeah, you want that one back. Just got to be careful with those balls coming back on the ground to keep them. It's a hard job to keep them down, get your laces on top of that ball. Ajay underneath that one a little bit, but a couple of early half chances here for the visitors.
There's Sean Lewis. Vaunted goalkeepers in USL League One. Of course, had a great year last year, and he picked up right where he left off. We're in 2024.
Yeah, racking up the clean sheets so far.
O'Hearn with some room to operate. Sends this one in. Knocked away. Christian Garner gets his paws on it.
Yeah, Sean O'Hearn playing that right wing back spot. He can whip him in with the best of them. I'm sure he was trying to test Christian Garner there, but he did. Garner had to be aware.
Chrysler rolls this one out to O'Hearn. To see where this offensive output comes from for one Knoxville. No Kempis Tequila, took a knock last weekend. Mentioned hamstring issue. Mark McKeever, the head honcho for one Knoxville, said obviously it's not great to leave him home, but especially when we need more goals, but challenge does breed opportunity. It's a chance for someone else to step up and stake a claim. Get something going. Kelly in the corner, guarded by Schultz. Angelo Kelly's persistent. Still Angelo Kelly with it. He gets it away to Richie. Richie's ball. Top of the 18, headed away by Fricke. Actually, that was Evan Lee who got the clearance. That's nice. The ball on goal. Knocked away. Service comes aside again. Some good opportunities here for one Knoxville. Getting closer and closer to breaking through.
Yeah, looking very comfortable in the final third, knocking it around, finding a little more space in that Greenville backline, and I'm sure Rick Wright wants to see. You mentioned the injuries. Both these teams off next week, so do get a little more time to recover. Last thing you want to do is throw a half-injured guy in here and lose that extra week. Both teams are relatively healthy otherwise.
Anguiano lays it forward. Now go to Evan Lee. Gets it knocked away from him. Schultz.
Sivas Talgi is a good matchup against Evan Lee. Both big lads, 6 foot plus. There he is again.
So out for a Knoxville throw. Let's take a look at our keys to the game, brought to you by Acumen IT. First off for Greenville, it'll be adjust to us. Rick Wright, he mentioned that this Knoxville team's been, at times, changed their shape and their style throughout the season depending on who's available. And he said, "I'm not exactly sure exactly what we're going to see on Saturday, so we want to make the challenge that they adjust to us as to vice versa." Meanwhile, for one, Knoxville, we've already touched base on it in this game, and it's a matter of who is the man who's going to step up and find the back of the net in this game with the absence of Kempis Tequila. They have a couple of guys who scored goals this year, like Rodolfo Castro, like Angelo Kelly. That's another opportunity for someone to step into the forefront. Now it's just a matter of who's that guy going to be.
Yeah, Rick Wright, certainly not one of those coaches that loves to tinker depending on who he's playing. Obviously, it really depends on the depths of your squad. Greenville, certainly, you'd have to say one of the deepest squads in USL League One as things stand. Knoxville, pretty healthy at the moment. Dealt with a ton of injuries earlier this year, though. Mark McKeever was raving about how his team rode the challenges of those injuries so far, got them to where they are on the table. We'll look at the standings at halftime, but a win tonight could tie Knoxville with Greenville. Top 5 teams trying to pull away from the rest of the table in USL League One.
Anguiano. This ball through. Evan Lee pings it out to McKinnon. No foul called there. Angelo Kelly getting the best of the leading goal scorer.
That's good work by Kelly. Just stood his ground. McKinnon had nowhere to go. Referee has just rightly played on.
Now Tyler Polak catching a boot there with his challenge. Amin Hadzic gives him the warning. Sean O'Hearn, the one on the ground.
Yeah, Tyler Polak just standing on the right foot of Sean O'Hearn. No padding there. That'll hurt. You can see by O'Hearn's reaction. At least we're past the days of sharp metal cleats, Mark. The days we had to, the referees had to check your cleats to make sure you weren't sharpening them before the game.
Good grief. What are you doing here, Fred? Make sure you visit shopgreenvilletriumph.com to check out the latest merch and kit launches. You could be wearing the kit that got on right now. I'm always a sucker for a sash, Ross. I love a good sash on a jersey.
You know, Peru style.
I first fell in love with it when the U.S. men's national team did the sash. What was it, 15 years ago? Something like that.
Oops.
Not convincing from Lewis. Here's Anderson. Now Velasquez. McKinnon. McKinnon, sworn by Knoxville players, gets it knocked away from him.
Yeah, so one thing about not having Leo Castro, which is certainly a guy that defenses have to account for it. Liam McKinnon's going to see a lot more attention tonight, at least until Rodrigo Robles does something to make the Knoxville defense pay attention.
Definitely be more on the ground than in the air with Rodrigo Robles. That's what Rick Wright was saying. As Sebastian Velasquez goes down.
Speaking of the ground, he's rolling around on it quite a bit. So Seabass grabbing that left leg. The referee's going to have a word with Castro, the other Castro.
You read my mind there. I was about to make the same distinction. Rodolfo Castro of One Knoxville.
Yeah, playing that center forward role tonight. Used to just sort of playing that floating role behind Kelly.
Let's get there a bit late against Velasquez.
Behind Tequila. Behind Tequila, I should say. Hopefully the hamstring injuries aren't too serious for those two. We see them back out there. Scoring options, obviously so key in this league.
McKinnon, ball still in play. Sean O'Hearn doing well to recover there. McKinnon did not keep it in bounds. Didn't look like he did.
Yeah, McKinnon just knocks it around Sean O'Hearn like he wasn't there.
Fans, download the FanSaves app and follow the Greenville Triumph for access to exclusive deals at your favorite restaurants and breweries. Who doesn't love a good deal, Ross?
Everybody loves a good deal. Especially when it comes to food.
Oh, yeah. Stuart Ritchie keeps this one in bounds.
Yeah, great work there by the former Richmond man, keeping that one in.
Quality left back, or in this case, more of a wing back today, Stuart Ritchie.
Yeah, loves to bomb forward. A little more freedom with that wing back role, knowing that he's got the back three as well as Johnson and Haugley in there to shore things up if he does go for a run. You mentioned, Mark, 6 games tonight. These are 2 7 o'clock ones. The other one is Lexington hosting Richmond. A couple of games at 8, one at 10, one at 11. Nicely spread out tonight. A full night of League One soccer if you choose to do so. Watch some Olympics in between there as well. The multi-screen setup, I know you have that, Mark.
Oh yeah, we've got that set up.
USA were big winners today over in France.
Anderson sends Schultz running. Schultz sends it inside, knocked outward. Jordan Skelton, the man donning the captain's armband, gets the clearance. Now it's a matter of if it's a long throw-in or corner kick. Appears to be a corner kick for Greenville. It'll be Velasquez with Anguiano waiting by.
Got some shenanigans going on, I think, in the penalty box.
Go-ahead whistle's been given. Velasquez sends this one in, headed outward nicely. Now Smith takes a shot on goal. Tried to hit the half volley.
That one felt beautifully for Jamie Smith. Knoxville should know how dangerous this man can be on loose balls, falling anywhere towards the edge of the box. That was a good strike, just not quite low enough to threaten Sean Lewis's goal.
You mentioned Pascal Corvino works on those volleyed efforts in practice. Another person who does that, according to Rick Wright, is Jamie Smith. USL Summer of Soccer continues on CBS, surging Detroit City FC, led by first-year head coach Danny Dicchio, hosts newcomer Rhode Island FC with reigning USL Championship Player of the Year Albert Diqua on August 3rd at 4 p.m. Eastern on the CBS network. Yeah, I definitely gave you a heads up on talking about I was going to do it.
Yeah, what a summer of soccer it's been, Mark. Copa, European Championships, now we got the Olympics, and then Premier League, all the other big leagues in Europe, just 3 weeks away.
Seems like they just finished. Now they're already back into the swing of things.
Some of the players, I'm surely, will be feeling those championships over the summer. I see some early rotation from some of the international heavy squads, depending on how far they went in the tournaments. A bunch of friendlies going on as well right now, and then Arsenal Man U tonight.
That's Rick Wright. Just how much different of a matchup are Knoxville in comparison to other teams in USL League One. He said they're a little bit different, but they're kind of like us in the way that they've had to adjust their lineups due to injuries throughout the season, and they've made it work. I mentioned earlier that they don't have a full grasp of what they're anticipating to see here today, so the goal was to make them adjust as opposed to adjusting to them. Meanwhile, Mark McKeever, talking about the Greenville Triumph, said that the games that have been played so far between these two sides have been decided in the moments. Especially in that last game, he felt they went toe-to-toe, and in his opinion, had the better of Greenville. But the Triumph capitalized on their chances, and Knoxville did not. He said, we created lots of chances, took the game to them, but failed to make it count. And then he proceeded to heap on some praise to Leo Castro and Lyle McKinnon, saying that they've been a handful, not just for us, but for everybody in the league.
Yeah, both these teams certainly attack in different ways. Knoxville put the pressure on you and then just throw bodies forward. Also press with those front four as well at times.
A loose touch there from Velasquez, lets it slip out of his possession. That'll be a free kick for Knoxville.
Triumph fans, we have another trivia question for you on the video board. Make sure to submit your answer on the Triumph app.
Once again, no Leo Castro in this game, no Chapa Herrera in this game, no Kempis Tequila in this game due to injuries.
Or the Janice. We'll be right back with your answer.
As far as the Castro injury, Wright said that although it's never a good time to have a guy like Leo Castro go down, it is convenient that they did just sign Rodrigo Robles.
Yeah, there seems to be a theme of Greenville. They seem to do that. I remember they signed, was it Nate Schultz and Tyler Pollack got hurt right after that, and a lot of signings that have been very timely as well. Robles was training with them. A lot of these League One, 2 sides will do. League One sides, excuse me, will do. They'll invite guys to train with them. So try out. That's going to be, I think, a yellow card here as Amin Hazic tries to slow down the number of fouls. Traveling into the book.
Sievert Haugley with his 6th yellow card of the season.
The referee has issued a caution.
Also has 2 in Jägermeister Cup play, so it's 8 total.
In the 27th minute.
8 is the magic number, Mark. I'll have to see if he has that good behavior discount. I'll let you know in a second. Howley also plays center back as well as this 6 role he's playing at the moment for Mark McKeever.
We're brought to you by GSP International Airport.
I think Howley may miss the next match due to suspension. Don't see 5 games in a row without a yellow, so maybe without him for the next match.
You mentioned it earlier, both of these teams next weekend off, so it's 2 weeks till the next match, and it'll be a Jägermeister Cup game for both of them.
Well, it's also key for Greenville because they're sitting pretty in Jägermeister Cup at the moment. Perhaps only need a point, I think, against Charlotte to secure that. As down goes Robles and a heap. So you could perhaps afford to keep Castro out for another game if need be.
Poa. Back to Smith. Schultz. Sends this one across, headed down by O'Hearn. Now it's Kelly.
Yeah, Greenville with a 4-point cushion at the top of Group 1 at the moment, and I think they play Charlotte in both their final 2 games. So they just need 1 point there to secure first place.
O'Hearn trying to blow by Polak. Pass goes inside, then Polak gets his foot on it to knock it outward. Still in the thick of things. Ajay over to Johnson. Now Kelly. Sends it to the corner for Ritchie.
Back to Jägermeister Cup. Gets that in a second.
Velasquez. Sends this one over to the left-hand side for McKinnon. Lyle McKinnon. Working his way to the penalty area. Took a shot before he entered. And was blocked away. Denying any sort of chance for the leading goal scorer in USL League One.
Yeah, Knoxville in a big-time battle in Group 2. Madison with 12 points, Lexington 11, Knoxville 11. Knoxville have only scored 7 points. I mean, 7 goals, excuse me. 5 behind Omaha, who are the leading candidate to get that wild card spot at the moment. So they'll have to do some damage in those last 2 games if they want to get to the knockout stage of the cup. They'll play at Lexington and at Tormentor in those last 2 games as well, so no easy trips there.
Jamie Smith with some steam. Sends it forward. McKinnon goes down. No whistle. Greenville saw possession too. Lee feeds Anguiano. They'll go out wide to Schultz. Some quick passing here for Greenville. All around the perimeter. Anderson tried to get sneaky with it to Anguiano. And now Knoxville, they're going to try to break down the other way, but that ball a little stretched out wide for Callum Johnson. Polak tapping this one back. Another long distance effort. Whether that was a cross or a shot from McKinnon doesn't matter because it did not get past Haugli. Couple of blocked efforts already in this one for Mark McKeever's side. Ajay sends Castro running. He's one-on-one with Smith. Rudolfo Castro cuts inside and shoots. And I don't know if that caught a piece of Smith or not, but either way, not on target. And it will end up being a corner kick. Jamie Smith did get a deflection.
Yeah, we haven't seen too many transition breaks in this one so far. It's mostly been a game played in the middle third. Good chance for Castro to get running there. Kingsford Ajay setting him away nicely. And one thing Knoxville do have is some big bodies. Some targets here on the set pieces. Skelton, Chrysler, Haugli. Certainly the ones we aim for here.
Johnson whips this one in, headed away by Jamie Smith. Throw in for Knoxville on the other side.
I think this one's pretty much gone to plan so far, Mark. We knew it would be certainly a battle played in the middle of the field. The 2 strikers missing tonight.
It's Kingsford Ajay on the ball now. Ajay tried to tap it out to Angelo Kelly. We couldn't get that job done. Velasquez lobbing it forward to Lyon McKinnon. Headed away by Jalen Chrysler. Tune in to ESPN2 for a USL Summer of Soccer showdown as last season's top 2 sides from the East and the West face off in an inter-conference clash with perennial powerhouse Sacramento Republic FC hosting Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. Saturday, August 3rd at 11 p.m. Eastern.
Sacramento with some obviously key former League One players.
One big shout out to the Golden Boot winner last year, Trevor Ammon.
Yeah, scored last weekend. 8 goals on the season for the former Hailstorm man. Here's a chance here for Greenville.
Lee striding forward. Velasquez now. He can cut it back. Instead, he tries to slip it inside. It's Lee, squares to McKinnon. McKinnon takes a shot, and it took a glance. It's going to make it a little bit more difficult for Lewis to handle, but handle it he does.
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic in front there. Greenville perhaps being a little too fancy. Velasquez, good job by Knoxville though, getting in front of the ball. In the end, just a scrappy shot from McKinnon. They did a good job of getting through. First shot on goal for the home team. Comes in the 34th minute.
Sean Lewis making the stop. Has 5 clean sheets in league play this year, which is tied for first with Bernd Shipman. McKinnon. Can't get by Chrysler. League One veteran center back. Now Velasquez to Polak. Tyler Polak. This one skipping inside, and the whistle will blow now as Jordan Skelton goes down. And
Oops.
some extracurriculars after the fact. Two veteran center backs, Jordan Skelton and Jalen Crisler, now both down after.
Certainly a clumsy challenge. I don't think there was as much venom in it as Knoxville was claiming.
Here's a look at it again.
He was going for the ball. A silly reaction from Crisler, who should also be getting a yellow card for that. And then I'm certainly not going to give him an Emmy for the acting.
The referee has issued a caution to Greenville's number 10.
So Sebastian Velasquez will collect his second yellow of the season in league play.
Yellow card, the right call there. Knoxville's reaction, as I said, was a little excessive. Wasn't ridiculously late.
Check on Skelton here. The contact, both teams with a chance to get some water and recuperate.
You mentioned clean sheets, Mark. Knoxville, they've got 9 victories in all competitions this season. 8 of them have been clean sheets. So when they don't give up a goal, certainly get a good chance of winning. Obviously, that's easy to say, right?
Well, you also mentioned earlier that they haven't scored multiple goals in a league game this year. So, I mean, they had to get clean sheets to win.
Yeah, more than 2 goals. They've scored a couple of goals in games, but not more than 2. And the only one that wasn't a clean sheet was the season opening 2-1 win over Charlotte.
Triumph fans, we have another trivia question for you on the video board. Make sure to submit your answer on the Triumph
Jordan
app.
Skelton.
Who won the gold medal for soccer?
Couple years in USL League One alongside Jalen Crisler, and always those two who are up in the stat sheets for leading the league in clearances. They both, with some no-nonsense defending at many a times throughout their time in USL League One.
Yeah, certainly a no-nonsense set of 3 centre-backs. Crisler and Skelton, 2 of the more reliable veterans in the league, keeping things clean in front of this man.
His second year in USL League One, and with one Knoxville, Sean Lewis, that is. Having come over from the USL Championship prior to that in Indy 11. It's players like that that can create stability in a group, and stability was a word that Mark McKeever preached to us pretty emphatically when we talked to him earlier this week. He said you got to create stability as a new club and then build up from there. Once you have some of that stability, then you start finding X factors. And so that one gets scooped up by Garner before Castro could do anything with it. Continue that thought. Once you have X factors, then those X factors need to blend together. He said we have some players who are growing into that role as X factors, and now they can blossom in those spots, then I can take them to the next echelon as far as the level of quality that their team has.
And going back to that Garner grab, that's always a risky move when keepers are coming out of the center of their goal to the wings to get balls like that. Sometimes you can misjudge how far you've got to go. Garner got there just in time. Keepers are certainly a lot more adept at coming straight out from goal for balls.
Skelton will boot this one up into the air. Angelo Kelly getting fouled by Ryan McKinnon.
Yeah, sort of been a stop-start first half, Mark. Hasn't been a ton of flow to it. First 5 minutes perhaps was one of the most flow we've had so far. Less than 0.3 XGs between the two. They've had the 9 shots, but only 2 on target. Greenville with 60% possession so far. Unfortunately, haven't turned it into much in the final third.
Castro had to chase his touch there and gave the window of opportunity for Jamie Smith to knock that one away. Ajay to Ritchie. Stuart Ritchie plays this one inside. Kelly didn't get the touch he was looking for there.
Yeah, I think Angelo Kelly got sort of caught in two minds there. Whether he was going to take a touch or whether he was going to have a hack at it first time, and in the end he did neither. Not sure if he knew how much time he had. He certainly had time to bring it down and perhaps take a shot with his left foot. It's been a pretty quiet first half so far for Kelly, but he only needs a couple of seconds. That's a foul. No, wow. Kingsford's on the ground, thought it was from behind on Liam McKinnon. Referee's allowing those to go a little bit tonight. The shoulder-to-shoulder stuff, I thought that was a little from behind. Well, McKinnon, not known for his defending prowess.
It's one of the things that they've been focusing on to add to his game as he gets some heads in the USL Championship turning to look his way. McKinnon on the ball now. And the cheeky move to get it through Sean O'Hearn. Here's Robles. Rodrigo Robles. Bring it back to McKinnon. His ball interfered with Kelly. Here they've got a Lexington goal against Richmond. And the other game is Adliati getting onto the score sheet. The other game kicking off at the same time as this one, in a busy day in USL League One. Of course, every single team playing this Saturday.
Yeah, Darren Powell throwing the offensive bodies into that starting lineup tonight. Being rewarded so far.
Polak to McKinnon. Zangiano, he'll play it back. Long distance effort from Fricky. Now Evan Lee with an opportunity. Lee back across. Could not find Hayden Anderson because Sean Lewis was privy to the danger.
It won't go down as a save, but that's a huge play by Sean Lewis. Some clumsy defending there. Nice little one to Evan Lee with good ball across. And Sean Lewis had to come for that one, otherwise Hayden Anderson was going to have 2 in 2 games.
A nice combination there between Evan Lee and Rodrigo Robles, the recent addition to the Greenville Triumph. Knoxville look to see if they can find a return punch. Ajay with the dummy. Goes back to him. Ajay tried to contort his body. He'll go out for a corner kick coming off of Jamie Smith.
Yeah, nice little 1-2. Those little chip balls into the box are always difficult when you're running, coming over your shoulder. Ajay did a good job, as did Jamie Smith. Get his body in the way.
Yeah, that was a tough angle for Ajay to try to get that one on goal.
Smith disagreed with the decision. I'm sure he'll take that rather than a goal, though. Another set piece here for Greenville to defend.
Stuart Ritchie coming over to the right-hand side to take it.
His left hand heavily strapped. Wrist, I should say.
Here's Ritchie's service. Punched away by Garner with both his fists.
Christian Garner perhaps should have caught that. He wasn't under any pressure at all.
Select the official match ball supplier of the USL League One and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select the player's choice. Pardon me for cutting you off there, Ross.
No, you're right. I was going to say, I'm sure it's pleading with Christian Garner to catch that one. Another break coming up for Greenville, as you mentioned after this game. Just had a recent one. Rick said he wasn't going to give the players off as much time this time for the week off as he did last time when they were basically off for the entire week.
The emergency button being hit there. That's Castro. He's coming rushing in. A loose pass pass that Hayden Anderson's able to get to the end of. Now here's a nice ball to Anderson. Skelton with a sliding challenge knocks that one out and also earns a glance off of Anderson. Well done there from Jordan Skelton, the Englishman.
Yeah. Hayden Anderson certainly had one eye on the ball, one eye on that man coming in. Just trying to imagine what he was going to do, and then just shoulder him off or come sliding. It was the sliding variety. And himself a throw. Almost had 2 balls on the field. See that one from South America a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
The guy kicked the ball off the other ball.
The fourth official has indicated 2 minutes of stoppage.
Just 2 minutes of stoppage time here before we go to the dressing room. Hayden Anderson, with his propensity to lob it far, will throw this one in. Here's Anguiano, the player that Rick Wright could not sing enough praises of as this one served in. Smith can play it back to Velasquez. He does so. Velasquez's ball's inside, headed away by Fernandez. We have another opportunity here for either side before the whistle blows.
Referee said the ball was moving. Not sure it was. He was a lot closer than I am, though. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and Knoxville wanted that fast break. Yeah, this referee Hadjic continuing to allow a lot of body contact. Rick Wright not happy with that decision, perhaps. Letting the fourth official know his feelings. Yeah, been a bit of a cagey affair. All right, neither team willing to put a ton of bodies, push a ton of bodies forward. Knoxville certainly sitting more in that deep block when Greenville do get into that final third. So second half, which team perhaps is bravest? Getting a little more action forward. There's a chance. No, another sloppy ball from Kelly. It's been that sort of half. Greenville made good adjustments last week at the half. See if Rick Wright does the same again here.
There's your halftime whistle. 0-0 your scoreline. Neither side able to find a breakthrough. A couple of half chances for both sides, but nothing truly jaw-dropping as far as offensive opportunities are concerned. It'll be 0-0 going into the break. We'll see if some tweaks, some personnel changes, or anything else along the like will be what make a difference in the second half. It's a top 5 clash between the Greenville Triumph and one Knoxville, all tied up after 45. We'll step aside for the break now.
At Piedmont Natural Gas, being a part of the communities we serve is important to us, because to us, community begins with you. We strive to address the needs of our communities by investing time and resources to help improve the quality of life for our customers. For over 60 years, we have funded programs that support education, the environment, and community impact. Our Energy Assistance Program, Share the Warmth, helps customers pay their energy bills. We're committed to helping our neighbors by powering the vitality of our communities.
The lottery isn't about jackpot winners. It's about investing in our students. Even when it began in 2002, it was lottery proceeds that helped fund new technology initiatives in schools across South Carolina. And when students booted up those screens for the first time, they discovered a lifelong love of learning that shaped them into the professionals and people they are today. When you play the lottery, the real winners are always our students. After all, education is our middle name.
Welcome to Wood Creek Dental, where dental care is a family tradition. For over 40 years, we're proud to be a family-owned practice serving the community of Greenville, South Carolina. Our experienced dentists and dedicated staff are committed to your oral health. Experience the difference for yourself. Wood Creek Dental. Dental care, from our family to yours.
South Carolina's economy is growing, bringing new businesses and opportunities. The need for electricity is growing too. At Duke Energy, we're meeting the challenge, providing even more electricity that's reliable, that stays affordable. To do this, we're investing in our communities with a diverse, balanced mix of energy sources and making targeted upgrades to the grid so that South Carolina can thrive in a smarter energy future.
It is halftime here at Paladin Stadium, 0-0. Your scoreline between the Greenville Triumph and 1 Knoxville. In case you need some catch-up, we've got the sights and sounds from Week 14. Let's take it away from there. Couldn't get through Rankenberg.
Looked up and was waiting for help at the back post, but it wasn't there in time, so just try and shoot.
Youth. Atez Youth could be away here. It's a bad mistake at the back from Tormenta right before halftime. Atez Youth shuffling on his right and firing into the back of the net. The man who created the chance dispatches it. Lexington go ahead shortly before the interval. Cross to the front post. Fonseca cuts it back. And the equalizer from Sebastian Vivas. Off the bench, onto the score sheet, and Tormenta are level. Jackson Corey sticking with it. Second ball played in and headed in. Pedro Fonseca has been sniffing around goal all night long and gets the go-ahead header in the 87th minute.
He gets disrupted by King, but Calixto tries to cross anyways. Kelly leaves it, shoots, scores! Another stoppage time stunner! Knoxville take the advantage in the 94th! Castro, a man up, a goal up. And that's the second goal for Rudy Castro, the first for Knoxville, and they rip the 3 points away from the Hailstorm.
Statistically, the worst defense in the league. They've conceded 22 goals this season. On goal over the top. Marsh is there. Marsh with the header. It's in. Inside 40 seconds. Chattanooga lead. Mensah on the turn. On a goal. Will Papa Mensah 2 goals in next to no time. Played in behind for Bilhar, he keeps it in play. Ball is loose and the back heel from Terzaghi, and the lead is cut in half. Chance, a little bit of a surprise that Lukic even went for the free kick. It wasn't too far away. Oh, it's in! Siobhan Marsh seals the victory! Mistake out of the back by Richmond. And Siobhan Marsh seals the deal. Ingo within swing, ball is loose. Obertan, shot from distance, it's deflected and in from Johnson. Keeps it in play. Belmar across goal, deflected on the line. It's a goal, it's been given. And it will go down as an own goal, surely.
A lot of fun and drama in Week 14. We're here in Week 15, a busy day on a busy Saturday in USL League One. We'll step aside for this from the USL now.
Is it somebody's birthday? Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
They're hungry for the women's game. They want to see women's soccer. They want to play women's soccer, and that's what we're building at the USL.
You can see it in my eyes, only want the best.
The best nights start with Jägermeister. Made with 56 botanicals. Always served ice cold.
It would take a miracle to come back from this. Heartbreaking end to the season. But what's this?
For the moments when anticipation
Clock's counting down. 5 seconds. 3, 2.
becomes celebration. Jägermeister. Meister the moment.
Touchdown by Rodriguez. Going for goal. It's Morris, and it's in! Detroit City's ahead.
And a bit of space as well. He'll have a go from distance. Oh, what a goal!
When mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix.
There's a new airline in town. Breeze Airways has arrived at GSP International Airport with nonstop flights to 5 cities nationwide. Enjoy low fares, no change or cancellation fees, and convenient nonstop service. Make your next trip seriously nice on Breeze Airways. Visit flybreeze.com to book your flight from GSP today.
And we're back here at Paladin Stadium for another segment of halftime here between the Greenville Tribe and One Knoxville. Here on ESPN Plus, I'm Mark Schoenster, Ross Davenport with me. It's been a wonderful summer full of great football, and the USL Summer of Soccer is continuing with some more games on linear networks. Next one up on CBS Sports Network, Wednesday, July 31st. So coming up just this Wednesday between Hartford and Detroit City. And Detroit City getting a lot of featurings here, along with Sacramento Republic, both with 3 to go still in the docket for the USL Summer of Soccer. A lot of great games that have already been featured, Ross. A lot of great games to come here as the USL continues to get more exposure and more eyeballs around the world, not only just on TV, but also representing in different leagues, because Nick Akoto earlier this week was announced transferring to Burton Albion FC, where you said in the first half he's already got an assist and a friendly today in his debut. So Nick Akoto, not only is it a huge move for Tormenta, for USL League One, but he's already repping both of them very well, as he's turning into an immediate impact transfer in the EFL League One as opposed to USL League One. Here are the standings brought to you by Hopkins Eye Center. The Greenville Triumph currently sitting atop the table as it stands right now. It is such a tight race at the top of the table from 5th to 1st. Ross, just so exciting to see who is going to be sitting at the throne at the end of the season, who's going to claim the player shield, who's going to have the home field advantage in the playoffs, and then also on the bottom end when it comes to the final playoff spots, who's going to sneak into that spot, because it's tight there too. It's just how we like it in USL League One. It is close, the parity is there, and we got some great games coming up for the rest of this day to demonstrate that parity, including some good matches here, starting off in just a couple of moments actually between Fort Madison and the Hailstorm, along with Omaha and the Chattanooga Red Wolves. I'd definitely check out the tail end of that Madison Hailstorm game after this one's concluded. And then I'll shamelessly plug in Central Valley Fuego and Tormenta tonight. I will be describing the action on that one with you on ESPN Plus, so should be lots of fun. We still got lots of fun to come in this one. The second half of action on the docket, along with the first half highlights and stats. We'll see you there on ESPN Plus on the other end.
It starts with only one tap to have total home control with Priority One Security. You can view your cameras and video doorbells, integrate our smart locks, lights, thermostats, and control your garage doors. Customize your smart devices to fit your schedule with our automated controls for a smart, effective, and secure way to protect your home. Experience total control and complete security from the convenience of our one app, one tap smart security and home automation on demand. Call Priority One Security and tap that app. Official partner of the Greenville Triumph.
At Piedmont Natural Gas, being a part of the communities we serve is important to us because to us, community begins with you. We strive to address the needs of our communities by investing time and resources to help improve the quality of life for our customers. For over 60 years, we have funded programs that support education, the environment, and community impact. Our Energy Assistance Program, Share the Warmth, helps customers pay their energy bills. We're committed to helping our neighbors by powering the vitality of our communities.
You've never been afraid to put in the work. The extra early, extra late, extra work. Because you understand that education is the key that unlocks everything. Better pay, better hours, better opportunities, a better you. And playing the lottery is no different. Getting educated before you play gives you the tools you need to be a better player, like knowing when to play and when to take a rain check. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou to be a better player.
Tonight's match is presented by ScanSource, proud partner of the Greenville Triumph. It's 0-0 between the Greenville Triumph and Knoxville SC after 45 minutes. Mark Schoenster, Ross Davenport with you here on ESPN+. Let's take a look at the highlights from the first 45 minutes of action. What transpired between these two sides? This was a big chance that Kingsford Audrey did not take advantage of. It was close to, it was in the penalty area, had open space, just couldn't take advantage of it. And that's Christian Garner paring away an opportunity for Knoxville. The opportunities were there for both sides, but this one actually does look like it came off the post there. It was tough to tell live when it happened. So you see, although 0-0, both teams had chances going forward to really test the goalkeeper. This is Lyon McKinnon asking of a save from Sean Lewis. And this long-range effort from Fricky wouldn't result in anything, but this chance nearly did, as Sean Lewis was not aware of what was going on. Stretching out, preventing Hayden Anderson with the tap-in goal. And here are the halftime stats brought to you by Coca-Cola. 0 goals for either side. It's 0.24 expected goals for Knoxville to 0.15 expected goals for the Greenville Triumph. When it comes to possession, it is 58% in favor of the Greenville Triumph to Knoxville's 42%. It's pretty even everywhere else. 6 shots for Greenville, 5 for Knoxville, 1 shot on target for both teams. So that is where it stands here between the two sides. Only yellow card to be privy to, 1 on each side. Sebastian Velasquez has one, and Sievert Haugley has one, so that's what you gotta keep your eye open for.
Yeah, if you look at the average position stats on this game, everybody was sort of bunched up in the middle of third. Both teams locking things down, and neither team got near the penalty area. So only 1 goal would open things up in this one. We'll see if either team plays a little more bravely here in the second half and gets some more bodies forward, some more threatening chances. Limited to just half chances in that first 45.
Let's see what kind of changes and adjustments these two coaches have made after talking to their guys in their respective dressing rooms. 0-0 between Greenville and Knoxville. Now confirmed to you, no personnel changes, at least not at this point in the game. Offside flag goes up on Hayden Anderson.
Nope, no goals here. It didn't take long in Madison for the first goal. Billy King 2 minutes in from Bruno Rendon. Certainly one of the more intriguing matchups of the day. Northern Colorado probably a little further down the table than people would have expected. They haven't scored the goals, but they've been getting better and better.
They haven't scored the goals in league play, that
league
is.
play, right? Yeah, they've been hammering them into the cup, and that's certainly a team you don't want to be facing in the postseason, especially on the road. They haven't lost in 26 matches when scoring first in USL League One.
That's a good record to have. That's a Madison team that has been very good this season too. Have only 1 league loss, so although coming off a short week game against Central Valley Fuego, it was a tough fought game on Wednesday to start off week 15. So perhaps some wear and tear on their bodies as Northern Colorado Hailstorm get to start fresh in that game, and start off fresh they did. revamped and ready to go.
Jamie Smith down in the heat. Mark McKeever puts his hands in the air and says, what is that for? Jamie Smith, not one normally to go down and embellish things. His shoulder, it appears.
Certainly ailing, but sitting up now and looks to be brushing himself off.
We talked to Rick Wright about the improvement of Jamie Smith this season. Just caught him in the shoulder there. Taking his diet a lot more seriously this year. Certainly one of those guys that no team wants to play against. He's become the villain on this Greenville side. He's really matured, taking this new approach to heart. One of the first names these days on the Greenville team sheet, after that not being the case the first couple of seasons.
Yeah, he's played in every single regular season match, and I believe he's played in just about every Jägermeister Cup match as well, Jamie Smith. Played and started every league game this season thus far.
Good job there of coming over to help out Tyler Pollock, who was a little advanced up the field there. Smith coming over to cover Castro.
Smith down the middle to Evan Lee, who came back to provide some assistance there. Some tidy passing from Greenville here as they progress forward. Schultz. Needs it for Anderson. Hayden Anderson cutting inside. Anguiano. Get anywhere with it. And now Kingsford Ajay. Turned on the burners there for a second, but Schultz was able to recover.
Yeah, for a 0-0 game with as few chances as we had in that first half, both teams knocking the ball around beautifully. Greenville 88.4% passing accuracy in that first half. Knoxville also over 80%. It's been a strange game. It's been pretty but in the passing department, but just not that dagger mentality in the final third yet.
Well, sometimes those things can go hand in hand, because if you're not taking risky passes, then that passing accuracy is going to be pretty high. That was one of the things that Rick Wright talked about when it came to Carlos Anguiano. He said in that Richmond game, he was 50 of 52 with his passing attempts. So now it's about stretching it out and giving him a little bit more range. Sean O'Hearn just gets that one away. McKinnon tracking back quickly to win the ball, but gets fouled in the process. Yeah, continue that thought about Anguiano. Could not have asked for more from him since stepping in for Chapa Herrera, says Rick Wright. I mentioned that throughout the season, Anguiano's been telling him that I'm ready when you're ready to put me in. I'm a real team player. One other distinct factor about Carlos Anguiano is that he has an infectious grin that he wears on his face in training. You always need a couple of guys like that who make sure that coming into work every day is fun. You need some of the gritty guys who are get down to business, and you also have to have some people who bring in the energy.
Just those guys that grin at the wrong moments you got to worry about, Mark.
For Knoxville, this is the second year in USL League One, third year of existing in general. Mark McKeever been in charge of all of them, but when I asked him how much easier it's been to manage this season versus last season, he said, well, we've been able to have more stability this year because we've been able to create periodizations of different occurrences, like what's needed for a bus trip versus what's needed for a long flight for a game, what's needed when you have a busy week or you have a midweek game plus a game on the weekend. Pollock insistent here, not letting O'Hearn get that ball away. But it will end up going out for a throw. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk. including USL All Access Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Plus your live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on SiriusXM FC 157 in the new SiriusXM app.
Well, Richmond had tied things up, but Lexington have just taken a 2-1 lead. 2 goals in the first 3 minutes of the second half there. Bill Hart for Richmond. Still seeking our first one here.
Now, I believe that's 4 games now underway right now in USL League One. 4 of the 6 that'll take place today. Another game between Spokane and Charlotte will kick off in an hour at 45. And then the nightcap between Tormenta and Central Valley over in the Pacific time zone. There's also when the Spokane game is happening, but they opting to kick their game off an hour earlier.
That's Juve with the second for Lexington. Former Greenville man, Nico Brown with the assist.
Velasquez.
Lovely bit of balance there from Receivas.
Polak asking forward, gets it returned to him. Robles dancing with the ball at his feet. Drag this back to Smith.
First half. Rodrigo Robles.
Polak. Over to McKinnon. Polak plays it for Lee. Evan Lee. Trying to connect there with Robles. Go out for a Greenville throw, but some promising possession here for the Triumph. They try to knock the ball around closer and closer to goal. In essence, trying to break down this Knoxville defensive unit. They get into their block and ferocious and pounding on the defensive end. Anguiano. Service deflects upward. McKinnon now. Cuts to his right. Now he shoots. Lyon McKinnon. Took an extra effort from Sean Lewis to stop it. He cut off all the momentum, but it wasn't in his clutches. Then he fell on top of it.
Yeah, we've seen what McKinnon can do from these cut-ins here. Got good venom on that shot. Enough for Sean Lewis to almost spill it right into the path of Hayden Anderson. A warning shot there for Knoxville. You can't let Greenville have too much possession deep like that, because McKinnon will more than likely find himself with some kind of gap, and he doesn't need much of a gap to score goals, as we've seen this season.
Ritchie trying to chase after that one, but Schultz who gets there first, and now a whistle blows. This will come back. A free kick for Greenville.
Offside, I assume. That's where Christian Garner's pointing anyway. Ref was telling him to stop, I think, and he was saying, hey, it's just the referees all the way out here, sir.
As this game goes on, we'll see what kind of substitutions these two teams make. It's in that department where Mark McKeever has seen the biggest improvement this year for his side. He said the progress of the squad itself is our biggest improvement. Lots of subs are starting to make a difference. He's saying in the past, if our starting 11 didn't win the game, then we were in trouble. Now we have quality players who can come in and make a difference off the bench. Got some good options here.
Yeah, tons of offensive talent on the bench for Knoxville. It just depends what Mark McKeever wants from this game, I guess. A point at Greenville would not be a disgrace by any means, but So you think with that amount of talent, you want to start taking some chances. Going direct here for Castro. Calixtro, new signings, Aracostas, Charlie Mitchell.
Frank Ross, of course.
Interesting to see how long Mark McKeever waits. Yeah, no game next week, so no need to rest anybody.
I guess that argument could be used inversely too, though. If the field players on the pitch are playing well, no need to be worried about a quick turnaround or anything like that.
Yeah, I think they're playing reasonably well. Just haven't created enough chances, but neither have Greenville. Perhaps one here.
Anderson feeds it inside for Robles. He made contact on it, but it was going to be a tough order to put that one on goal, or at least to serve it across the middle.
It was an interesting run from Robles. He was a good few yards in front of that front post, perhaps just looking for the flick. It was going to be tough to beat that man in the air, though. Jordan Skelton. Didn't mention it at halftime, at Greenville now with 9 first half clean sheets, second most in the league, behind Knoxville with 10.
Fans, make sure to grab your tickets to the Triumph's next home match on August 16th. Visit triumphtix.com to buy today.
I mentioned Charlotte up next for Greenville in the Jägermeister Cup.
Lexington on the docket next on the road for Knoxville, so a barrel brawl there.
Greenville then host Richmond at NOCO, and then host Charlotte in League One play. No midweek matches other than a Friday, which obviously doesn't really count. The rest of the way for Greenville, so a standard schedule, which I'm sure Rick Wright and the staff will be loving. Of course, barring any reschedulings, etc.
Yeah, we saw one of those earlier this week, a rescheduled match between Central Valley Fuego and Forward Madison, a game that was meant to happen about 2 weeks ago.
One thing I'll mention, Greenville's stretch run isn't particularly difficult. They played Fuego twice, Spokane, Lexington, and Tormenta down in the last 5 games.
Robles. Skelton on his back, plays it across! And that one had to get knocked out of bounds by Sean Lewis.
I was going to say, yeah, I think it came off Lewis and then off the post. We're back, get another look at it here. Similar to Garner in the first half. Yeah, it's only going to be a corner. Good strong right hand by Lewis.
Tried to sneak it in near post.
Yeah, kind of like Sean O'Hearn did last week in that game against Chattanooga. Just blasted it near post. Worked out. Knoxville, interestingly, with the short man defender. Callum Johnson just there on the 10-yard line to stop. Just distracted kicker.
Jamie Smith got a piece of that one. But also may have gotten a piece of a Knoxville player. That's what the Greenville players are arguing. The USL League One is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings. Two-thirds of the way through this game, still tied up at 0 apiece. Ryan McKinnon trying to drag that one in. It'll be a deep Greenville throw. Aiden Anderson expectedly trots his way over. Here's Stuart Ritchie with some room to go. Ritchie. It's tugged, and then Nate Schultz comes in. It'll be a free kick for Knoxville. Got a couple of substitutions on the docket. We'll see when they opt to take it here. And it will be now. 3 changes. Got Innocent and Schutte coming into the game for Rodolfo Castro. James Thomas stepping in. He'll be substituting in for Stuart Ritchie. And lastly, Frank Ross will be coming in for Kingsford Ajay. So we talked earlier about some of the depth that this Knoxville team have developed. And now they can demonstrate it here. Lots of attacking options here.
Yeah, disappointing night for our player to watch. Kingsford Ajay just didn't see enough of the ball. He only showed a couple of flashes. Castro makes way as well, and certainly Mark McKeever going to throw some things at it, some fresh legs here up top. Thomas for Ritchie, just a straight swap at that left wing back spot. Different look now. Up top, which changes Ross, and certainly a creative player out there.
A reloading, if you will, on the offensive end for Mark McKeever. See if they can fire at this Greenville defense at all. Not the most convincing of clearances. Here's Ross now. Thomas up to Kelly. Fernandez drills this one inside, knocked away. Now Robles, seeing how much ground he can gain. And that's going to be a yellow card and a half.
Professional foul by a professional defender.
Danny Fernandez with his 2nd yellow card of the season.
Certainly, he wasn't subtle about it, Mark. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the most visually easy fouls to catch that you'll find in USL League One this season.
And holding on the cornerback. Receiver beat him off the mark, and all he could do was grab his jersey. A smart play there by Fernandez.
A yellow card brought to you by GSP International Airport.
He still might have been mad at that free kick. Or the crossing, excuse me.
Getting some of that pent-up angst out. Anderson with a move inside. Hayden Anderson tries to get it off his boot. This one flicked upward and caught by Lewis. Robles looking to invent an opportunity for Evan Lee there. The two of them trying to connect, Evan Lee and Rodrigo Robles, a couple of times where it's worked, a couple of times they were just a hair off. But perhaps a dynamic trying to be developed there between the two of them. Evan Lee with more of a lease to go forward with the additions of Anguiano and Chapa Herrera this season. Now Angelo Kelly going the other direction. This is promising for Knoxville. Thomas sends it inside. Wide of the far post there, whether that was a cross or a shot, either way, not quite on target.
Yep, good work up the middle by Angelo Kelly. It was a lovely ball sprayed wide. Fortunately, the ball in from Thomas, nobody on the end of it. That's sloppy from Greenville.
Knoxville have it back. And then just as much as they've gained possession in a moment, they have given it away in a moment. It's been brought down by Velasquez. Had a great bit of training last week going into that Richmond game, and it was mainly because of that guy, Velasquez. Rick Wright said that he brought in and settled down some nerves after 2 straight losses, which is something that Greenville has not really had to deal with this season, any sort of losing stretch whatsoever. He's a veteran presence who can come in and make sure that everything stays cool and chill. There's no reason to panic. And then they proceeded to then go into Richmond and find a result, so it's the kind of impact that the veteran Velasquez can have.
Greenville just need to move the ball a little quicker. Trying to unlock this Knoxville low block. It's all just a little pedestrian at the moment. Have some changes here.
Let's see what the adjustments are.
Speed substitution for Greenville. Entering the match, number 7, Ben Zakowski.
We've got Zakowski and Corvino coming into the game.
Well, we talked about Greenville wanting to move things a bit quicker. Here are two guys that can certainly do that.
In the 68th minute.
These substitutions brought to you by Spinks. And these are our adjustment of the match presented by Upstate Spine and Sport. We'll see if these two changes for Rick Wright will result in a higher tempo for the Greenville Triumph.
See if Corvino can replicate his magic from last week. He'll sit in that 6th spot.
Zakowski play out wide. Usually been a like for like for Velasquez, but in this case he's going to sub in for Hayden Anderson.
Yeah, we've seen him play wide a few times this season, Ben Zakowski. Just brings the energy right wherever he's going to ends up on the field.
McKinnon sends over to the right hand side for Schultz.
Rick Wright on his feet, surveying the situation. Trying to figure out how he can pull 3 points from this one.
Velasquez hits the brakes there, but then Callum Johnson able to interject before it got away from Velasquez. Fans, download the FanSaves app and follow the Greenville Triumph for access to exclusive deals at your favorite restaurants and breweries.
It's been all Greenville in the first 25 minutes of the second half. 73.5% possession, 4 shots to nothing. Speaking of nothing to show for it just yet. Knoxville continue to sit back. I would be happy to just take home the point here. Just letting Greenville have their way in this second half, especially 28 final third entries for Greenville. Going direct here.
Will end up being a corner kick in favor of Greenville.
Corner taken by your Greenville Triumph.
Be a set piece that makes a difference in this one. Velasquez makes his way over to the right corner flag.
You have the feeling it's one of these games, a set piece or a mistake mark's going to be the difference. Velasquez with the signal, the pat on the head.
Low driving ball. Jamie Smith couldn't quite get to the end of it, at least not the way he would have liked.
Watching Liam McKinnon coming from the edge of the box. Nobody was marking him. Obviously the flick front post header was the call.
Plays this one back. Now it's popped forward. Mention Ross. Not much here to cheer about offensively for one Knoxville. Had to do a lot of bunkering in here in the second half and withstand the pressure from Greenville as they press their shape further and further down the pitch.
Yeah, for Mark McKeever, he's a bit of a quandary. Does he continue to just sit back and soak up the pressure? Greenville haven't looked particularly dangerous despite the amount of possession. Not even showing a threat, really, Knoxville. You've got to keep Greenville honest. Another one of these body contact non-calls from Mr. Hadzic. Sebastian Velasquez can't believe it.
Here's an opportunity. Greenville win the ball back immediately after the free kick was awarded for Knoxville.
Sean O'Hearn takes a seat.
Here's a look again at what happened. Zakowski is picking it up and trying to make the difference here.
Yeah, decent effort. 20, 25 yards out, and O'Hearn grabbing his knee. McKeever, you can see the frustration. Made these subs to change things up, he's probably saying, and nothing's happening.
Four games unbeaten, won Knoxville. Draw would, of course, maintain that streak to 5. Of course, an unbeaten streak feels a lot better when you're stringing together wins than it does when you're stringing together draws.
And you and I talked about Greenville haven't had a draw in forever. Back at the start of the season against Madison. Sean O'Hearn looks like a quad issue. Gio Calixto on the bench. Oh, something got Sean O'Hearn there. Gio Calixto on the bench. Started last week at right wing back. Him as an option if needed. Calixto, a converted right wing back, more of a striker in his previous days in League One. Oh. We've all been there. And the trainer just gets that one spot. You can see Sean's like, don't touch that again.
Mentioned his previous days in USL League One. He was with New England Revolution 2 during their brief era within the club's history, or within the league's history, excuse me.
It's just been a frustrating game, Mark, for both sides. Just unable to get things going.
So just as you mentioned, Ross, Gio Calixto will now make his way onto the pitch in favor of Sean O'Hearn, which does beg the question about how things will shape up for Knoxville. O'Hearn at that wingback spot. Calixto more traditionally a guy up top. We'll see who kind of either who's going to shift into that right wingback spot, or if they're just going to adjust the way in general their formation will look.
Yeah, we'll see here. It could be a straight swap. It's like Angela Kelly coming out wider. At least for now. Calixto out there as well.
Now they need to defend Rodrigo Robles. Robles had some space in front of him, but lost the ball. Just slipped behind him. Just a couple hairs, and that's the difference. Kelly tripped up by Robles. And it looks like Rodrigo Robles is going to collect his first professional booking. Yellow card for him.
Two apiece now for each side. Fernandez and Howley for the visitors. Velasquez and now Robles. "15 minutes or so to go in this one. Can somebody find a piece of magic?" It's been very much a stalemate chess match here. And this one, just the odd half chance here and there. Sean Lewis doesn't want any part of this free kick.
Well, if it went anywhere like how the last one went, then he'd be given back to Greenville immediately.
In the 76th minute.
This one booted up the pitch. Let's see if anything can be sprung here as another substitution prepares itself for Rick Wright. now has the opportunity to take place. Zion Scarlett is in. Sebastian Velasquez is out. The substitution brought to you by Spinks.
This is an interesting one. Scarlett, more of a wide player. See if McKinnon perhaps pinches in.
Or perhaps Sikowski now bites inside and Scarlett goes out.
That too. See which side Scarlett goes. He's played both right and left this season for Rick Wright. Youngster.
Kelly nods this one forward. Calixtro shrugging off Polak. Gio Calixtro plays it centrally! Oh, so close for Innocent and Schutte. Johnson to Thomas. Ball serviced in, caught by Garner. Signs of life offensively for Knoxville here. It's the substitute, Gio Calixtro, who withstood a lot of contact from Tyler Polak to keep possession. Evan Lee now. Plays it left to McKinnon. Lyon McKinnon sends that one inside. And that one looked like it went out of bounds. But the call is that Sean Lewis kept it in play.
Yeah, it's a tough one for the assistant referee because he's watching the offside. And a rasping shot like that, the odds are the AR is not going to get to the end line quick enough. Jamie Smith might have got away with a bit of a shove there.
Sikowski tried to contort that one forward, but Skelton more than ready to snuff that. And Schutte to his right. Angelo Kelly out wide. The whistle blows on Lyon McKinnon.
That's a good foul though. Angelo Kelly was away down that right wing. Him and Calixtro kind of switched spots there.
eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now.
Chance for Knoxville here to get this one into the box, perhaps. Good ways away. For a second touch.
Johnson's servants comes in. Still on the scuffle. Finally knocked away. That one sat down motionless for a little bit, and now Jamie Smith running in the opposite direction. He's got Sikowski ahead of him. A couple more bodies ahead of him. Ball comes inside. McKinnon. Now Scarlett. Crosses in. Flicked on by Robles. Couldn't dip down.
Yeah, some tired legs now. Things opening up. You see the Knoxville backline, Skelton and Chrysler feeling it. Ball from Jamie Smith was just a little too long. This was a nice ball in from Scarlett. Robles was trying to flick it far post. Couldn't get it on target. Lewis may have had it covered.
A game that has been cagey throughout has opened up a bit here. Both sides getting some cracks, some opportunities. Perhaps both sides getting the keys to be a little bit more aggressive here and try to get all 3 points in this game between two sides racing for the top of the table. Polak has some room to think about what he opts to do next. It's McKinnon now. Do one of these teams have a goal in them in this one. Zakowski trying to sneak it to Evan Lee.
Some shouts for handball on Chrysler.
Here's Robles, plays it back up top. And it was Corvino trying a long-range effort.
Big block by Haugley.
Another block shot. This one slipped through, but the flag goes up. Would not have counted.
Robles coming away from that shot limping.
Like you said, another big block shot for one Knoxville.
Greenville has made this, just half yard offside. Danny Fernandez with the step. It's been effective in moments, Robles. You can see the talent. Quick, there's small spaces. Certainly a lot different of a player than Leo Castro. Both these teams missing their key strikers tonight, that's for sure.
Without that key striker, will another player rise up to the limelight? Corvino, right down the middle to Robles. Now Zakowski. This one rolls out to Polak. McKinnon now. Sneaks that one through. It's back to McKinnon. It's off across. Headed up by Scarlett. Doesn't get towards goal. Time ticking away here at Paladin Soccer Stadium, or Paladin Stadium, excuse me.
No goals on Omaha between Union Omaha and Chattanooga, but we do have a red card. Gustavo Fernandez sent off late first half.
Currently, Greenville Triumph and Union Omaha tied at 23 points at the top of the table as it stands. And Omaha not only have the games in hand, but also have the goal differential advantage, which means that they sit in first place over Greenville. Knoxville still in 5th place. A bit of a gap between 5th and 6th. Knoxville at 20 points. Tormenta at 15. Now Tormenta could cut into that deficit later tonight, should they find any points against Central Valley Fuego. Of course, though, Knoxville will, once the Tormenta game kicks off, we'll have 2 games in hand. Right now it's just a 1-game difference since Knoxville currently under action. Tormenta have not started yet. So there is just a gap there between 5th and 6th. 6th, that's 7th, because the Hailstorm also currently sitting on 15 points. Service comes in. Popped up by Jamie Smith, and then McKinnon does well to send it to Robles. And now he has to get off a pine. That's a rough challenge.
Oh, Robles cramping. Those of us that have played the game have been there, Mark. Robles is incensed how this isn't a foul. I mean, about as blatant as you can come, Mark. I'm not sure why referee's had he was a long way away from the plate. He just called for the throw-in. Robles has been struggling here for a few minutes. Let's see if Knight decides to go to the bench one more time. He's not, actually not blessed with any really striking talent left on the bench. Oliver Hart, Hassan Gabo, and Caleb Pecoro, the Academy player. Gunther Rankenberg, obviously not a striker that I know of. So perhaps Robles is going to have to go the distance here.
one down. Lee. Zion Scarlett. Corvino now. Trying to play that one inside. Took a deflection. It's out for a corner kick. We're in the 88th minute. At times this game has been fought in the middle of the pitch, been a bit congested. Then we had a brief opening of play about 10 minutes ago. Greenville breakthrough here on the set piece, headed away by Skelton.
Well, shot Knoxville 16-5. Knoxville just complete non-factor in the second half. No shots at all. Just 2 touches in Greenville's box.
Yeah, that one opportunity, courtesy of Calixtro. They play it quickly. Lee takes a step, and that step and touch was too heavy. Zakowski now. Trying to pull something out of the hat.
Sums up Greenville's night a little bit there. Zakowski, poor effort. Knoxville clearly going to be happy with the point here.
We're going to get a Knoxville debut here. Stavros Sarakostas, recent announced signing. Not new to the USL though, having played with Charleston Battery, that is, at the same time Angelo Kelly was there. And he will sub out Angelo Kelly, for that matter. The Greek striker coming back from his home country to play in the United States once again.
Story this would be if he could find the winner.
And the new addition to the game and the new addition to Knoxville. See what changes things up here. Frank Ross. With Corvino on his back. Zarakostas. Playing it back up top, but getting there first was Schultz. Play goes on. Or at least so we thought for a moment.
Yeah, having trouble hearing a referee's whistle. Certainly was a foul though. Zarakostas got there late. Chance for Greenville to breathe here. Perhaps get it down the other end. They can rescue 3 points from this game.
Minutes have transpired. 5 more tacked on. Plenty of time for one of these teams to claim the lion's share of points. I think if this game ends in a draw, I think Knoxville will be more pleased about it than Greenville.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, especially with the second half display. Knoxville clearly in the second half playing for the point.
Scarlett jumping over top of the marker there.
And he was offside in the first place.
Chanting, counting in the background, catching on to the fact that Knoxville look to run out the clock here.
Yeah, it's been a frustrating few games for the Radio River Riot. Greenville not with much success at home of late. The winner over Charlotte back in mid-June, but other than that, haven't been many home wins. Lost to Omaha, lost to Lexington here in the Cup, lost to Chattanooga in the league.
McKinnon, and knifed that through a couple defenders. Smith, Boots it over to the right-hand side. Scarlett chesting it down for Schultz, who has to backtrack for it. A loose pass that Frank Ross was not ready for, which means Greenville get away with that one. Here's James Thomas. Trying to feed Frank Ross, but going in opposite directions there. Evan Lee. Robles to Lee once again. It's cleared out. Scarlett trying to find Lion McKinnon. 2 more minutes of the allocated 5 to go. Scarlett once again. Zion Scarlett. Back to Evan Lee. Lee feeds Zakowski. Zakowski with the ball inside. Couldn't connect with Robles. Now Evan Lee back in the middle. Punched away by Lewis.
Seeing Evan Lee score some quality goals. Did a good hammer at that one. Sean Lewis had to be awake. Poor job of clearing here. Jalen Chrysler, he almost made him pay.
Jamie Smith rolls it over to Schultz. 45 more seconds of the guaranteed added 5. Corvino. This one rotates out to Polak. Here's McKinnon. Lion McKinnon lets it fly. Just wide of the post. So Sean Lewis did have the corner covered. And it's going to be a corner kick, suffered a deflection somewhere.
See the deflection, but referee, again, tonight had better look than me. One last chance here for Greenville.
Zakowski back in the middle, headed upward. No whistle blown.
There was a foul inside the box, I think, on Greenville, and that will probably do it.
And that will do it. Neither side could break through, so it's a 0-0 draw between one Knoxville and Greenville Triumph. 2 top 5 sides, maybe proving just that. 2 top of the table teams, nothing to separate them. A point apiece is how this one will conclude.
Yeah, Knoxville definitely coming in here looking for the tie, especially in that second half. No shots, and they got it.
We'll step aside. We'll have post-game after this.
What exactly is a Sully steamer? Our sandwiches are made to order, which means once you've taken a look at our big menu and narrowed down your options, we go to work. Our sandwiches are stuffed with fresh, flavorful ingredients and then placed in our special steamer until the sandwich gets warm and soft and fuses all the flavors together to achieve the peak of tastiness. Are you hungry yet?
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. Like in 2005, when lottery proceeds helped purchase new school buses that kept South Carolina students on the road to success. Because arriving safely to school every day is the first important step on their journeys to the careers and lives they've always dreamed of. When you play the lottery, you're helping fund the futures of students all over our state, which is why education is our middle name.
It starts with only one tap to have total home control with Priority One Security. You can view your cameras and video doorbells, integrate our smart locks, lights, thermostats, and control your garage doors. Customize your smart devices to fit your schedule with our automated controls for a smart, effective, and secure way to protect your home. Experience total control and complete security from the convenience of our one app, one tap smart security and home automation on demand. Call Priority One Security and tap that app. Official partner of the Greenville Triumph.
As we welcome you back here to Paladin Stadium, scoreless after 90-plus minutes between the Greenville Triumph and one Knoxville. Mark Schoenster, Ross Davenport with you here on ESPN Plus one last time. Let's wrap things up here with the full-time highlights. See what transpired in this game. Although 0-0, both teams had opportunities to get on the scoreboard, but it was one of those games, Ross, where neither side could find that extra bit of quality to take advantage of the moment presented to them to break onto the score.
Yeah, both keepers had to make a couple of half-decent saves, but yeah, the quality in the final third to get those shots on goal. And then once it got to halftime, Knoxville clearly playing for the draw. Not a single shot on goal in the second 45 minute. Greenville only had one shot on target in the second half themselves. Both teams just playing solid defense, but yeah, unfortunately a bit of a dour 0-0 draw here.
It's an opportunity still in the first half of action. This one of the best chances in the game for either side. Evan Lean trying to connect Peyton Anderson. Sean Lewis demonstrating some of that quality. He collects his 6th clean sheet of the season, which does guarantee that he's first place in USL League One league play, because Madison has already been scored on today, so Garth Shipman will not keep up with him in that regard. Meanwhile, for Christian Garner, it's his 3rd clean sheet of the season. So if there's anybody who's happy about the result, at least Garner and Sean Lewis will both have something to hang their hats on. Of course, they love a clean sheet with a victory as opposed to a clean sheet and a 0-0 draw.
Sure, yeah, Lyle McKinnon had a couple of decent long-range chances. Nothing ended up getting in the back of the net.
Here are your full-time stats brought to you by Coca-Cola. You can see there the disparity was a lot closer at halftime, the numbers between the two sides, but in the second half it was all Greenville Triumph, which means all the frustration, or at least the majority of the frustration, is going to fall on Rick Wright's side of things, that they couldn't come away with 3 points.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing is they'll have to wait 2 weeks to get back at it, because no game next week, as 13 of those Greenville shots came in the second half. None of those 5 for Knoxville's. They just stepped back and soaked it up for the point.
With that, in 2 weeks, these two teams will return to action. For Greenville, it's a road trip to Charlotte in the Jägermeister Cup. Meanwhile, for Mark McKeever's side, a road trip to Lexington on August 10th. They'll both get to kick back and relax next weekend and watch USL action across the country. But for our broadcast crew here tonight, for Ross Davenport, I'm Mark Schoenster. We appreciate you tuning in for an all USL League One day this Saturday. Hope you have a fantastic night. We'll see you next time. 0-0 your final scoreline here.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.
Now Robles, seeing how much ground he can gain. And that's going to be a yellow card and a half.
Professional foul by a professional defender.